Hello everyone. My name is Nigel, and I am 36 years old. I suffer cerebral palsy and have a severe learning disability. I live at home with my mum and dad. I cannot walk or move around on my own, but I can use a wheelchair. My mum and dad use a hoist at home to move me, and I have a stairlift to get upstairs. I am totally dependent on them for any movement around my home. I cannot attend my own personal care, go to the toilet or feed myself. To communicate, I use a kind of sign language, but it isn't a recognized sign, so few people can understand what I want. When I want something, I cough, to get people's attention. I do have an electronic tablet to help me to communicate, but I don't like to use it. It has pictures of things like feelings, food options and timetable choices. Although I struggle to communicate, I am aware of what is being said around me. I get upset if anyone shouts, and I don't like loud noises. I easily get anxious. It helps if I am reassured. I attend a daycare center every day during the week. I have done this ever since I left school. I like to make the other people there laugh. One way I do this is by making a mess. I find it really funny to tip the art and craft materials all over the table. I love how everyone starts to laugh with me. When I was younger, I used to take my brakes off my wheelchair when no one was looking. I would shout as I rolled away, and everyone would panic and run after me. That made me laugh too. I have a lot of difficulty eating and drinking, but I love the hot chocolate I always get when I arrive at daycare. I get a big cup full, but to help me, staff pour it into my smaller cup in small amounts. I have my lunch at daycare. I don't like lumps in food, but I like mashed up frozen vegetables, with grated cheese, and mashed potato. I like to have this with something like bolognese, or mashed up fish cakes. For dessert, I love mashed up sponge pudding, with custard and condensed milk. I'm very messy when I eat, so after lunch the staff help me get clean, and then I go and play on the computer with a bowl of crisps and a Kit Kat. I have to be reminded to keep sipping my drink. I don't like changes to my routine, so I found the COVID pandemic particularly difficult. It meant that sometimes I couldn't go to daycare, and when I did, I often had to sit on my own because of the risk of infection. And less people came to chat and play with me. When people did come to me, they couldn't come close. It was different to how it used to be. I also missed going to cafes with mum and dad, and going on holiday. It all stopped because of COVID. I like to eat at the daycare center, and I like to eat at cafes, but I don't like to eat at home. A few years ago, people around me discussed whether I should have a feeding tube to help me as I am very underweight, but my mum and dad were scared that I might pull the tube out, and so didn't agree. I have special shakes to try and help me to put on weight, and I mostly like those. I have one every afternoon at daycare, but in November 2020, I started to struggle getting fluid up a straw and could only manage a small amount of fluid a day. Then in December 2020, I got a pressure sore on my hip. It was really sore, and because I can't move on my own, there wasn't anything I could do when it hurt. My mum and dad didn't want a nurse coming to the house to dress it, so I went to a nurse at the doctor's surgery instead. It made me wince when anyone touched it. We got told that I needed a new bed, and a cushion for my wheelchair, to take pressure off the sore. But these things took ages to be delivered to our house. When the bed did come, on the 29th of December, I couldn't use it straight away, as it needed adjusting. My sore kept getting worse. It wasn't all bad over Christmas though. I did get to see Santa Claus. He and Mrs. Claus came to see me and gave me a present. It made me really happy and I gave him a big smile. By January I felt really poorly. My mum and dad took me to daycare, but I was crying because I felt so bad, and couldn't tell the people around me how I felt. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't swallow. I was shaking. I am around 5 foot 10 inches tall, but I only weighed about 5 stone. I say about, because people had to guess my weight. No one had the right equipment to weigh me. The staff at daycare phoned my mum and dad. They were going to call 111, but my mum said her and dad would come for me, and take me to the doctor. I went home and my doctor's surgery arranged for someone to come and see how I was. but I was really poorly, and I passed away the following day, in the early evening.